Hello, I wanted to do a video on spiritual bypassing and how do I identify it, what is it, and why do so many people avoid this topic. So, spiritual bypassing has become rampant in the spiritual community. It is so prevalent today that this subject matter should be talked about a lot more than what it is. And so I'm going to give some examples of what spiritual bypassing is so that way you can identify so that you can avoid falling down into the realm of what that is and also getting hurt by people in the process. So let's start with toxic positivity. Lots of people are of the opinion that you should focus on the positive only and avoid anything negative. Well, this is just going to repress your energies and it's going to lead to serious energetic compressions in your field. The reason it's called toxic positivity is because acknowledging things like anger and sadness and being mad and sorrow and despair and depression, all of these things are emotions that help us to learn different aspects of us. They allow us to get into the core of who we are. These things are roadmaps for us to deal with things that we came here to deal with. When we avoid them, when we say positive thoughts only, love and light, and we deny these aspects, we're not growing. We can't grow anymore. And so we get energy congestion going on within our energetic field. When you get so much energetic congestion in your field, it will affect your physical. Right? And so you have like your physical body and you have your spiritual body, and then you have like multiple bodies in between that, right? Multiple, like you have your emotional body, your mental body, your karmic body, your casual, like all of these different bodies, right? We'll call them like just different programming body because you can program your emotions, program your mental, program your karma, right? Like they're various different things that you can access. Right? And so you end up with energy congestion in these areas, whether it be on the emotional level, mental level, whatever. And eventually it'll affect the physical if you don't clear them. The only way for you to clear them is for you to acknowledge them. And so toxic positivity are these people that tell you positive this and positive that, and just take all your negative emotions and all your negative thoughts and just turn them positive and your life will get better. No, your life is actually going to get worse because you're denying aspects of yourself, right? And so it's been, lots of us call it toxic positivity. The other thing is people that are all love and light. Love and light is great. I prefer to be loving. I prefer to be lighthearted. I prefer to, be that. But I also deep dive and do my shadow work and I deep dive into my psyche and I deal with my repressions and I deal with my traumas and I deal with all the things that hinder me from growing, right? And so spiritual bypassing are people that believe that they can use spiritual technology, spiritual things to avoid doing the hard work. So a very common one is, oh, well, I came here to learn and I chose my parents. So everything that happened to me as a child is because I chose to go through it. Okay, well, you still need to process it. You still need to integrate it. You still need to heal it. Even if we chose, right? We chose to come here and go through the trauma and go through all of the things that we went through, we still have to heal it so we can become the best versions of ourselves. If we're just bypassing and being of the opinion that, I chose it, and my parents were just doing the best that they had, and I don't hold anything against them. No, if you felt abandoned as a child, you need to deal with your abandonment issues, because those abandonment issues are underlying all the decisions that you're making as an adult, right? And so spiritual bypassing are these people that use spiritual knowledge and spiritual wisdom to bypass actually doing the hard work, right? And so is it true that we came here to choose to go through everything? Maybe we did, maybe we didn't, right? At a soul level, right? We came here to forget everything that, so that we could just go through this whole process. Maybe we'll know when we give up these meat suits and we go back to source, because energy doesn't die, right? And so spiritual bypassing is a big deal. Spiritual bypassing are these people that talk about things and they're of the opinion that they don't have to do the hard work, but you do, right? Huge red flag. The do as I say, not as I do teacher, bad. Like, this is like something to stay away from. This is a huge red flag when it comes to spiritual bypassing. And so this is a subject matter that does not get talked about enough. Another spiritual bypassing are people that use psychedelic medicines to achieve higher states of consciousness. So the way I explain this to people is this. You can do a psychedelic. I'm not saying that you can't. And it will take you to a higher level. I liken it to an elevator. So let's say you're doing a psychedelic and you go from floor 1 to floor 5, right? So going from floor 1 to floor 5 can be a big, significant jump. It can be a huge jump in consciousness. It can be a huge jump in going to a different realm. It can be a huge jump in accessing different dimensions. And, when you do psychedelics, it has a tremendous effect on the brain. It actually opens up different aspects of the brain. It allows certain aspects of the brain to go quiet, and you can access other ones. So you can use psychedelics for spiritual growth. I'm not saying you can't. But what it does is this. If you do not go back and start at floor 1, and you just keep doing the psychedelics to go from floor 1 to floor 5, you will never go beyond floor 5, right? Because what happens is the key to floor 6 was on floor 3. The key to floor 7 was on floor 2. The key to floor 8 was on floor 4, right? And so you actually cannot spiritual bypass the higher levels. You have to go through and integrate the lessons from the beginning all the way to the end. So yes, you can use psychedelics to take you and to open you up to different consciousness, different realms, different things. Not saying you can't, because you totally can. But if that's all you ever do, you're never actually going to achieve anything, right? So when you go from floor 1 to floor 5 and you're using psychedelics, because you didn't go from floor 1, 2, 3, 4 to get into floor 5, there are things on floor 5 that you can't communicate with. There are things on floor 5 that you don't even understand because you don't have the previous knowledge. You didn't actually go through it. This is bypassing. You bypassed all the other floors and went straight to 5, and you don't have the knowledge from the previous floors, and therefore there's certain aspects and certain things on floor 5 that you can't access, right? There's no fast track in spiritual growth. You either do the hard work and you integrate it, or you don't. And as we become more attuned, as we become more awakened, and as more people's intuition comes online, people that are bypassing are going to be found out really quick. Because it's great that you've memorized stuff. It's great that you're a parrot. It's great that, you can pull facts out of your head. But being able to pull information and being able to actually have a conversation and being able to show that you've integrated it and that you've gone through the hard work are totally different things. Your vibration is different, your frequency is different, the way you talk is different. Everything about going through a spiritual journey and going through a dark night of the soul and going through your psyche are way different. You cannot spiritual bypass that. You either experience it or you don't. And humanity is awakening and people's intuitions are getting there. And so eventually spiritual bypassing, people will get called out for the charlatans that they are. So I wanted to do this little video on spiritual bypassing. This is like the tip of the iceberg. It goes way deeper. There's guru syndrome and a whole bunch of different things to watch out for, right? Guru syndrome are those like teachers that are like, bow down and kiss my feet. Nobody will ever be higher than I am. And I'm talking to the great whatever from the planet whatever. And, you know, these people that are just like, oh my God, right? You know, and then you get into people that are channeling and they're not channeling properly because they haven't actually aligned their body, right, to channel, right? And so some people force a channel and they actually get sick, right? Because they haven't prepared the physical body for the channel, right? And so there's lots of different spiritual bypassing. There's lots of different things that people are doing in the spiritual realms. People that want to make a quick buck, sadly, is what it has come down to. But I wanted to do this little video on just like the basics of spiritual bypassing and what it is, because the concept and the topic keeps coming up in some of the conversations that I've been having. So I thought if I keep having these conversations about what it is, I should probably do a video on what it is so that I don't have to keep repeating myself. Anyways, as always, if you want to talk about this, if you want to have a discussion about this, if you want clarity, please reach out. And otherwise, I am wishing you the very best of days.